upon brown air.
The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eyes upon his faithful, but shivering clerk Bob Cratchit in a dismal cold cell below was copying letters. Suddenly Bob Cratchit rose and approached the office of old Scrooge.
Well, out with it. What are you standing there for?
Well, sir, my fire went out, and I thought another bit of coal would keep...
Nonsense! Haven't I told you I won't have you burning up my coal like tinder?
Yes, sir.
Well, then why don't you go back to your work?
Well, sir, tomorrow's Christmas, and I thought that I could
Yes,
have...
I know. You were wondering whether you could have all day off, I suppose.
Well, if it quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient and it's not fair. If I was to stop a half-crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used. I'll be bound.
Yes, sir.
Ah, Christmas. Nothing but a poor excuse to pick a man's pocket every December 25th. My old partner Marley agreed well with me. He thought it a lot of a humbug too. And you, I'll put up with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family talking about a Merry Christmas. Bah!
May I have tomorrow off, sir?
Suppose you must.
Thank you, sir.
I'll go the next morning.
Yes, I will, sir. Sir, there's a man here. I don't know who he is.
Let him in.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years, since you asked. He died 7 years ago, this very night.
We have no doubt his liberality is well represented in his surviving partner.
Not interested.
At this festive season, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than desirable that we make some slight provisions for the poor and destitute. At this very moment, sir, many are in want of common necessaries and are suffering greatly.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are. Still, I wish I could say that they were not.
So the Thread Mill and Poor Law are in full vigor then?
Both are very busy, sir.
Oh, I was afraid from what you had said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their usual course.
But, sir, these organizations scarcely furnish Christian cheer of mind and body to these unfortunate people. It is because of that a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time of all others because it is a time where want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, that is my answer. I do not make merry to myself at Christmas, my partner Marley never did, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help support these establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those badly off must go there.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die than go there.
If they had rather die, then they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Besides, it's not my business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not interfere with other people's. So I bid you a good afternoon.
Good afternoon. No.
Sir, your nephew's here.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Ah, humbug!
A Christmas a humbug, Uncle? Surely you don't mean that.
I do! Merry Christmas. What right do you have to be married? What reason do you have to be married? You're poor enough.
Come then, what right have you to be dismal? What right have you to be remorseful? You're rich enough.
Ah, humbug!
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in a world of such fools as this? Merry Christmas. What is it to you but a time of paying bills without money? If I were to work my will, every idiot who goes about Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled with his own pudding he should.
Uncle.
Nephew, do Christmas in your own way. Keep it in mind.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. Much good it has ever done to you or will.
Why, Uncle, it has done me lots of good. Apart from its sacred celebration, it's brought me a good time. A kind, forgiving, happy, cheerful time. The time I know that in the whole calendar, when men and women open their hearts. Hearts that sometimes stay closed the rest of the year. Yes, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of silver in my pocket, I believe it has done me good and will do me good. And I say, God bless it.
You're quite a powerful speaker. It's a wonder you don't went to Parliament.
Don't be angry. Come dine with us tomorrow.
No, I won't dine with you.
But why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon!
Nay, Uncle, you never came to see me before I was married. Why give that a reason to not come now?
Good afternoon.
Uncle, why can't we be friends? We've never had any quarrel to which I've been a party of, and we never will. I've come to see and respect Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas tree to the last. So, a Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon!
And Happy New Year.
Ah!
After such a disturbing afternoon, Scrooge took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tone, and having read all the newspapers, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his irascible old partner, Marley, the gloomy suite of rooms, old and dreary, where no one lived but Scrooge, the other rooms being let out as offices. Once in his apartment, Scrooge closed and locked the door in his usual fashion, put on his dressing gown and slipper, and sat before the fire to take his evening meal. The fire was very low indeed, casting eerie shadows upon the walls. He was obliged to sit closely and brood over it before he could extract any warmth from it.
As he leaned forward in his chair, his glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room and communicated for some purpose long forgotten. With a chamber in the highest story of the building, it was with great astonishment and strange dread that as he looked, he saw this bell begin to swing. First softly, then so loudly, every bell in the house joined in and rang also. This must have lasted for a half a minute or so, but to Scrooge it seemed like a terrifying hour. The bell ceased, only to be followed by a clanging noise deep down below, as if some person were dragging heavy chains across the casks of the wine merchant's cellar. Scrooge then remembered ghosts in haunted houses were described as dragging chains. Then followed a series of strange sounds as of feet mounting stairs coming closer and closer towards the room. Scrooge, suddenly aware some weird happening was about to occur, hugged his shivering body and waited in fear and trembling.
I know you. Ghost. Oh no. What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who are you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can. You don't believe in me.
No.
What evidence would you have of my reality beyond your own senses?
I don't know.
Why doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects me. Slight sore in the stomach makes the cheese. You may be an undigested bit of beef. A ball of mustard. A crumb of cheese. A fragment of underdone potato. There's more of the gravy than there is in you. Whatever you want. Humbug!
Ah!
Dreadful operation! Why do you trouble me?
Man of worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do! I must! The quiet spirits walk in the world. And why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men. And if that spirit goes forth not in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world. Oh, and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared in terms of happiness.
You are offended. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, and of my own free will, I wore it. Would you know the weight of a strong cloak you wear yourself? It was as full and heavy as this 7 Christmas Eve, and you have labored on its sense. It is indeed a ponderous chain.
Jacob. Old Jacob Marley. Tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I cannot, for comfort comes from other regions of Mr. Scrooge, and is conveyed by none that ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you what I would. for little more is permitted to me. I cannot rest, I cannot stay, I cannot wander anywhere. In life, my spirit never walked beyond the narrow limits of our counting house. Mark me, and where it journeys life before me.
You must have been very slow about it, Jacob.
Slow,
7 years and traveling all the time.
the whole time. No rest, no peace, incessant torture of remorse.
You travel fast.
On the wings of the wind.
You must have gotten over a quantity of ground in 7 years.
Oh, captive, bound and double ironed, not to know that every Christmas spirit, working kindly in its own little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life opportunities misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you're always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the immense ocean of my business. At this time of the Roman year, I suffer most. Oh, why did I walk in crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down from the blessed star which led the wise man to a poor abode? Were there noble homes which this life would have conducted me? Hear me. My time is nearly gone.
I will. But don't be hard upon me, Jacob. Don't be flowery, pray.
Why is it I appear before you in a shape that you can see? I may not tell, for I have sat invisible beside you many and many a day. And that is no light part of my penance. I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance of escaping my fate and misery.
You're always a good friend. Thank you.
Hear me! You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance of what you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
Can I see them all at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Expect the second the next night at the same hour. And the third comes next night when the last stroke of 12 ceases to vibrate. Hope to see you no more. No more.
So the spectre floated out on the dark, bleak night, leaving Scrooge desperate with curiosity behind. After a moment, he followed and looked out the window. The air was filled with phantoms wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains, like Marley's ghost. Many Scrooge knew personally. Old business acquaintances, friends and family who had passed on, all bound and fettered and wailing in mournful dirge. Scrooge had been quite familiar with one old ghost, in a white waistcoat, with a monstrous iron safe attached to his ankle, who mourned piteously at being unable to help a wretched woman on the doorstep below. The misery of them was all too clear to Scrooge, that they sought to help in human matters and had lost the power forever. With a painful sigh, Scrooge closed the window and examined the door by which the ghost had entered. It was double locked, just as he had left it. He started to say humbug, but stopped at the first syllable, and feeling much in need of repose, went straight to bed and fell asleep on the instant. From deep in the realms of sleep, Scrooge heard the clock toll the quarter hour, the half hour, and remembered that the ghost had warned him of a visitation in the stroke of 1. Recalling this, he dozed fitfully. On the instant of 1, the lights flashed up in his room, and Scrooge stared wide-eyed at what he saw before him.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
What then? What would you of me?
Rise and walk with me.
I am mortal, and liable to fall.
Nay, my hand will support thee. Look beyond. What do you see?
Good heaven. I see why I was a boy there. All this I remember well.
Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
Lead on, Spirit. I follow.
Ah, a school. Do you remember? But of course you do. Even though it is Christmas Eve, however, it is not yet quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
No, all too well. My own boyhood. My home self.
You remember this old school, with its weathercock and school bell hanging from its roof? Look now! The walls are damp and mossy, the windows broken, the gates decayed. Let us look at the boy who stands alone.
Poor boy. Poor lonely boy. It was that day my sister, Fan, came with happy news that she had persuaded my father to let me come home for Christmas. That we all might have a Merry Christmas together. I thought I was suspended alone in school.
Did you go?
Ah, yes, merrily, with my trunk tied to the top of the chaise and the quick wheels dashing through the snow.
Your sister was a delicate creature, whom a breath could have withered, but she had a large heart.
So she had. You're right. I will not gainsay Spirit, God forbid.
She died a woman, and I think had one child.
Yes, my nephew Fred.
Shall we leave this place?
My poor forgotten self so used to be. Poor boy.
What say you?
I wish, but it's too late now.
What's too late?
Nothing. Last night, a boy was singing a Christmas carol at my door. I should have liked to give him something. That's all.
Let us see another Christmas.
And so the ghost of Christmas past led old Scrooge down the memories of long ago, each separate experience recalling memories quite forgotten. Although they had but just left the schoolyard behind them, they were now in the busy thoroughfares of the city. It was, again, Christmas time. It was evening and the streets were lit up. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse store and asked Scrooge if he knew it. Know it? I was apprenticed here, cried Scrooge, and the joys of reunion cried over him as he watched his old employer sitting on a high desk in a Welsh wig. Why, it's old Fezziwig! Bless his heart! Fezziwig alive again! As he watched, the joys of that Christmas Eve suddenly came into being. The fiddler perched on Fezziwig's high desk, the clearing of the warehouse floor for dancing, the beaming face of Mrs. Fezziwig, and the gay laughter of 20 couple all dancing at once. Himself, a young lad of 18, laughing with the rest. At the stroke of 11, the party ended with everyone wishing a Merry Christmas in high, ringing voices.
Merry Christmas!
What power we have to render others happy or unhappy. The power of words can use to raise it and cost a fortune. He felt the Spirit's Lawrence and stopped. It's my arrest, ghost. Nothing in particular, said Scrooge. I should just be like to be able to say a word to my clerk, Bob Cratchit. That's all. Once again, Scrooge and the ghost stood side by side in open air. My time grows short, observed the Spirit. Look. And Scrooge looked, this time seeing himself as a man in the prime of life. He was not alone, but sat by the side of a very young girl in morning dress, in whose eyes there were tears which shone forth in the light that shone forth for the ghost of Christmas past.
Very little. Another idol has displaced me. And if it can cheer and comfort you in time to come as I have tried to, I have no just cause to grieve.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world. There is nothing the world is so hard upon as poverty, nothing that wishes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
Poor Ebenezer, you fear the world too much. All of your hopes have merged into the one hope of being beyond its sordid reproach, the reproach of poverty. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall one by one until the master passion gain engrosses you. Have I not?
What then? Even if I had grown so much older, wiser than before, what then? I'm not changed towards you, am I?
Our contract is an old one, made when we were both poor and content to be so, until in good season we could improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When our contract was made, you were another man.
I was a boy.
Your own feelings tell you are not the same. I am. That which promised happiness when we were one in heart is now fraught with misery that we are two. How keenly and often I have thought of this, I will not say. It is enough that I have thought of it, and can release you.
Have I sought release?
In words? No, never.
In what then?
In a changed nature, an altered spirit, in anything that made my love of any worth or value in your sight. Tell me, if this were not before us, would you seek me out and try and win me now? Ah, no.
You think not?
I would gladly think otherwise. Heaven knows I would. But if you were free today, tomorrow, can even I believe that you would choose a dowerless girl? You, who in your very confidence with her weigh everything by gain? And if you did, do I not know that regret would surely follow? I do. So I release you, with a full heart of love, the man that you once were. May you be happy in the life you have chosen.
Spirit! Spirit, remove me from this place! Conduct me home! Why do you delight to torture me?
One shadow more.
No! No more! I don't wish to see it!
But the relentless ghost pinioned him in both his arms and forced him to observe what happened next. There were another scene and place, a room not very large and handsome, but full of comfort and Christmas cheer. Near to the winter fire sat a mother and a daughter, quite alike in their loveliness that Scrooge caught his breath. To think that the comely matron might once have called him husband, and another such creature, quite as graceful and full of promise as her daughter, might have called him father, and in the springtime and the haggard winter of his life.
As he watched, a knocking was heard at the door, and such a rush came as the younger children entered just in time to greet the father who had arrived with toys and Christmas presents. After the excitement quieted down, the master of the house sat by his own fireside, with his daughter leaned fondly against him, with his wife close by, making a picture of contentment and happiness.
This anguish he wrestled with the ghost of Christmas past, and yet found he was only struggling with the strange, unbroken life. He was conscious of being in his own bedroom with barely time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.
At the stroke of one, Scrooge awoke in the middle of the prodigiously top floor and sat upright. He knew that the second messenger dispatched to him was Jacob Marley's intervention would shortly present himself, and he would, this time, challenge the spirit of the moment appearance. However, no spirit came. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes, until the clock proclaimed the hour, and still he sat alone. He began to think. Throughout the hour, he was in a ghostly light among the clock, and wondered if in the adjoining room he had find spirit service. He had barely moved when a strange voice called him by name and he went out. He obeyed. It was his own room, so no doubt about that. But it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling were so hung with living green that it looked like a perfect grove of which every part glistened and varied. It was the Christmassy sight that all
Come in and know me, better man. I am the ghost of Christmas presents.
Look upon me!
Spirits, I went forth last night on compulsion and learned a lesson which is working now. If you had aught to teach me, let me profit by it.
Touch my robe. Come. Now, what see you?
I see gaiety and Christmas cheer everywhere. Stores lighted up, and holly, and mistletoe.
Listen, do you know whose house that is?
Ah, yes, that is the humble home of my clerk, Bob Cratchit. See how happy they are. The children run around the table while Mrs. Cratchit lays the feast before them.
And who is that man who enters so merrily with that tiny little lad?
That, sir, is Bob Cratchit and his son, Tiny Tim. See the boy's little crutch? How tenderly his father holds him. Spirit, tell me, will Tiny Tim live?
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, no, kind spirit, say he will live and be spared.
Why? If he'd be like to die, he might as well do it and decrease the surplus population. Man, if man you be in heart, what right do you decide what man shall live and what man shall die? You alone are more worthless and less fit to live than this poor man's child.
'Tis truth you speak.
Enough, we must go on. Hold my road. Now, what see you?
I see my nephew with his family. See how heartily he laughs and how they join him.
What else?
They joke about me. They drink to my health and happiness, knowing I like both. They laugh that I missed the dinner, and yet, in truth, they seem to wish for my presence.
You observe well.
The games they play, I remember them. I almost like to join their sport.
I know, my life upon this globe is very brief.
Are spirits' lives so short?
Hark, my dance tonight at midnight. I go, but another comes.
I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so? Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any specter I have seen, but I know your purpose is to do me good. As I hope to be another man from who I was, I am prepared to bear you company, and to do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? Lead on, spirit. I hear voices, men and women talking to one who is dead. They rejoice in his death and speak with cold dislike. They quarrel over his possessions, even the sheets from his bed and the curtains from his windows. They even took the shirt from his dead body. Spirit, tis with horror I witness this. I see, the case of this unhappy man might be my own. I beg you, show me some tenderness connected with death that I may forget the horror of what I have just heard. I beg you, lead on.
The second turned to the house of his poor clerk and found Mrs. Cratchit and all the little Cratchits stood still as statues around the fire, but Tiny Tim was nowhere in sight. As they all watched the door open, Bob Cratchit entered wearily. They greeted him, eager to bear him comfort, and gave him fresh tea from the hob. After a while, he placed his arm around the shoulders of his wife, calling his children together to the chair where Tiny Tim used to sit.
I wish you could have seen it, my dear, how green a place it is where he lay. It would have done you good. But you'll see it all. I promised him we'd walk there on Sunday. My little Tim. My little Tim.
Don't be sorrowful, Robert. He is where all little angels go, and we must be gay and happy this Christmas as he would have us.
Of course, you're right. We must be closer than ever before, and happier. And whenever and however we part from one another, we shall not forget this first parting that there was among us.
Oh, never, Father, never.
Oh no, Father.
And I know that when we remember how quiet and how mild he was, for he was a little child, we shall not quarrel easily amongst ourselves and forget poor times.
Oh no, Father.
I am very happy, dear, for Tiny Tim and for us all.
I too. This shall be a Merry Christmas.
Once again, the silent ghost of Christmas yet to come beckoned Scrooge, first leading him past the window of his own counting house that he might look in. Scrooge hastened to get the future elf, and there saw nothing he recognized. It was an office as before, but not his. Another had taken his place, sat at the desk which had been his for so many years. Scrooge bowed his head he might erase the sight. The phantom beckoned him on, pointing, as before, this time to an old churchyard overrun with grass and weed. The spirit stood among the graves and pointed solemnly to one.
Before I draw near to the stone, I to point. Answer me one question. Are these shadows of things that will be, or shadows of things that may be? Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, no doubt. But if these courses were departed from, the ends will change. Say it thus with what you show me. I beg you, say it! My name. 'Tis my name that is carved on the stone. Am I the man over whose possessions they quarreled and death they welcomed? No, Spirit, no! Spirit, hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I would have been but for
by an altar of life. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on the stone. I beg you, tell me!
In his agony, old Scrooge caught the spectral hand. It sought to free itself, but he was strong in its entreaty and detained it. The ghost, stronger yet, repulsed him. Holding up his hands in a last prayer to have his fate reserved, he noticed a sudden alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. They shrunk, collapsed, dwindled, until he was holding nothing but emptiness. The ghost of Christmas yet to come had left him.
I live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on the stone. I beg you, tell me!
I'm not dead! Oh, Marley, heaven and earth, Christmas be praised for this. I stand on my knees, old Jacob. On my knees. I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as merry as an angel. I'm as happy as a schoolboy. Merry Christmas to everyone and a Happy New Year to all the world. Hello, hello. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. Hello, my fine fellow. What day is this?
It's Christmas Day, sir.
Christmas Day. Hooray, hooray! The spirits have done it all in one night. Oh, heaven be praised. Marley, Jacob Marley, wherever you are, I know you were close by, so listen to my heart's desires. First, I shall get that prize turkey in the poultry shop and send it to Bob Cratchit. It's twice the size of Pennington, and he shan't even know who sends it. Then I shall go, here's my best, and go out to church. And then go out into the streets to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And I shall pat all the heads of the little children and give to all those who need it. Then finally, a walk will lead me to the home of my nephew. Bless my soul. How surprised he will be to have me sit at the table with him in happy fellowship. Then Marley, I shall go down to Bob Cratchit's house and take that splendid bird to them, to whisper in Bob's ear that want shall never darken their door again. And Marley, most of all, I shall like to bring joy of Christmas to Tiny Tim.
Just as he had planned, he set out as light in heart as a boy, wishing all who passed him by the merriest of Christmases. He went to church, questioned beggars, and patted all the little children on the head. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good, at which some people did not have their fill of laughter at the outset. He never dreamed that any walk, nay, that anything could give him such happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps first towards his nephew's home, where he went with affection and was received with happy welcome, arriving finally at the home of Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim. As he entered, they were all seated at the table, making ready to partake of the fine bird he had sent them.
May I join you in your Christmas feast this Christmas Day, Bob Cratchit?
Oh, please do sit down, Mr. Scrooge.
Merry Christmas to you and yours, Bob Cratchit. And Merry Christmas to you, Tiny Tim.
shopping with